Hi, just want everybody to know I'm doing fine. I donated my kidney on Tuesday to someone who lives in Ohio. I don't know who the person is, but I donated my kidney so my best friend Pete, who's in Connecticut, can be put on top of the donors list to receive a kidney because we're not the same blood type. I'm an A positive and he's a O. So the fastest way that he can get a kidney is if I was to donate my kidney and then he get a voucher to get put on top of the list. The surgery went well. My kidney worked right away in the donor's, the recipient's body right away. The surgeon told me. Um, she said that my kidney was really good, um, like top 1% of the kidneys that she's ever seen. Um, I always focused on eating healthy, never drinking alcohol, never did any drugs, and I exercise often. Sometimes I slack off, but for the most part, I've always exercised. And that was the key to really staying healthy enough to be able to donate. When you donate, you have to be approved to be able to donate a kidney. So there's a lot of tests you have to do in order to be approved to be able to donate. I can tell you the process was at least 2 months, maybe a little over 2 months. The whole process from the time I called to say that I was willing to donate up until I had the surgery. And my surgery went, they found a recipient faster for me than usual because they were saying that my kidney was in such good shape. They was happy to be able to find somebody. So normally where it takes over 3 weeks for them to find a recipient, it took like about 2 weeks for them to find one. So the tests I had to do, first I had to do blood tests, and then they scheduled a urine test, 24-hour urine test, like a week or two later, and I passed that urine test, and then I had to go back and do more blood tests, and that blood test, the blood test that I took then, which was like maybe a week or two later, um, along with all the surgeons and the team that they have, a nutritionist, psychologist, neurologist, pharmacist, the whole team, they get together as a panel and they decide whether I'm healthy enough to be able to donate. Um, it's a very comprehensive test, very comprehensive test they do. Um, I got tested for everything. Um, blood tests, heart tests. I had to have a colonoscopy, which I already had prior. I had a colonoscopy 5 years before, so that was good. I don't have to have another one for 10 years. So that was good. EKGs, um, cardiograms, full tests. Every type of test you can imagine, um, they test you for. It's like extremely. Um, they want to make sure that you're able to live with one kidney. Um, I, with all my tests, I was told that I was above average with my health. Um, I'm like above average in the country. I'm like one of the healthiest people in the country for my age. Um, Besides the minor surgeries I had, like on my ankle, I had a motorcycle accident, and my appendix being out, I've never had any other type of illness. Um, the only time I've gotten a fever is when I had COVID at the time. Since I was a baby, maybe, probably. It's the only other time I had a fever. Never really had any sicknesses. Um, get a cold every blue moon, but that's about it. And they usually only last about 3 days. So for the most part, I always took care of myself. Like I said, drinking was something I decided to do when I was 15. I drunk one night in my life, and after that, like I said, it was something I would never do again, and I never did. And I'm 52 now, so that was a major part of me wanting to be healthy in my life because, honestly, drinking excessively will destroy your body, you know, over time. And the choice, I guess never to do drugs, it just wasn't for me. Um, and I always had the motto in my life is to be different is to be different. So, um, I guess never wanted to do everything that everyone else was doing, just because they were doing it. I never been curious to do things because everyone else was doing it. Um, so far as the surgery and what I experienced after, it was so with the surgery, they put 3 holes in my chest, and then at the bottom of my stomach, I have a line scar going across where they actually took the kidney out, similar to a C-section that a woman would have. So they cut across my stomach, and on the inside of my stomach muscle, they cut downwards from my navel down in order to take the kidney out. I felt a lot of discomfort with the air that they pump in to expand my stomach and everything in order to take the organ out. Um, so once I woke up from the surgery, I was, a little drowsy, but the air that was in my stomach was a little discomforting, and I felt like a sharp pain, like a stabbing, like a little small stabbing, I guess from the incision where they took the kidney out. But later that night, I was walking, and that helped a lot to relieve the gas that was inside of my stomach. Um, the more I walked, the more gas came out. Usually, but from a burping, I would walk and I would have to stop at times to burp, and I could feel like the gas coming out. And the more I walked, the more pressure came out, and the better I felt. The next day, um, I was able to eat. So the day before the surgery, I was only on liquid diets, and I had to take a laxative. And then the whole day of the surgery and after the surgery, I can only eat. I'm sorry, I can only have a liquid diet. So the next day, which is Wednesday, I was able to eat, and it was nice to eat after 2.5 days. So I was able to eat a regular diet, regular meal. So I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner that day, which I had no problems. Thank God I didn't have any like nausea or any type of sickness. That's what I really don't like, to be nauseous or sick. But they knew for me, like strong medications like um, morphine and Percocets and codeine and stuff would make me sick or nauseous. So I didn't get that. I got other types of pain medications that I took that would manage the pain and not cause you know um, me any sickness. Um, so I didn't feel like any nausea or anything like that. That would have been worse than being cut open for me because I hate getting sick. And that's one of the reasons why I don't drink alcohol because the first time I ever drunk when I was 15 at the time, that one day I got so sick, I was, first throwing up, but I don't like throwing up. So ever since then, I was like, nope, I will never drink again because I wouldn't want to do anything that's gonna make me throw up. That's the worst for me. Um, that's worse than any kind of pain that I can go through. So, um, yeah, so that's the only pain I have. Um, was with the discomfort with the gas, and that was relieved. And then where the incision is, I feel like a small stabbing most of the time when the medicine start wearing off, the pain medicine. But I'm able to walk around, and the more I walk around, the better I feel. Um, so now after the surgery, so I had the surgery on Tuesday the 23rd, and today is Thursday the 25th, and I leave to go home. I just I can eat a regular diet. I guess have to eat healthy for the rest of my life. Just be health conscious. No, not a lot of sugar. A lot of salt, which I don't do anyway. I stopped using a lot of salt and sugar a long time ago. I realized even with the sugar, I was gaining weight, eating snacks and things with sugar in it a lot. So I stopped doing that. So that helped manage my weight because I am 52 years old. So the weight is harder to get off now that I'm older. But I guess I had to eat healthy. I always have to stay hydrated. I only have one kidney now, so being dehydrated will really affect me. Um, like really affect me. So I always have to drink water like every day. The recommended amount of water to drink every day I would have to do. Like I said, I can eat a regular diet, just healthy, a balanced diet, which I've always done. I've always believed in eating, meat, starch, and vegetables. I prefer to eat more vegetables than meat, but and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have more vegetables, um, a handful of vegetables, a flat handful of vegetables, a fistful of rice, and basically a fistful of protein. That's how they describe how you're supposed to eat. As I'm talking about it, I can actually show for my diagram chart what a healthy, balanced meal looks like. And this is basically what I would normally eat my my life. So this is basically what a food chart is and how do you eat a balanced meal. And my whole life, this is pretty much what I've always eaten. I've always had a meal with meat, vegetables, and some type of starch. Um, so yeah, so that's it. My recovery time, I'll have like 2 weeks of pain, and then after that, the pain will, be more manageable. But I can't lift anything over 6 pounds for 6 weeks. Um, so my full recovery time will be 8 weeks, um, but more just this healing and eventually getting back to my normal life after not being able to do as much as I was before. But um, yeah, I can't lift anything over 10 pounds for, or less than 10 pounds for 6 weeks. That's because of the incision that's on the inside. Um, the one on the outside will heal, but there's a stomach muscle that was cut. So that takes time to heal. And also, too, I can't do any type of straining with lifting anything because that can cause a hernia. Um, I'm here at Yale Hospital in New Haven, which everyone here was so supportive um, and everything. My nurses were great. Um, yeah, the whole staff here was great, and they really was here to help me and be there for me and do everything that I need done. Um, the food was good, the room service when I was able to eat, the or call up and order it. So that was good. It tastes pretty good too. Um, yeah, so I do get tired. That's another one of the symptoms. I wasn't able to sleep that night of the surgery. Um, the day of the surgery, rather. I wasn't able to sleep that night. I didn't sleep much at all. Um, I had a little congestion. There was one time where I couldn't breathe for like less than 10 seconds. That was a little scary, but it was just congestion. I had to learn how to cough to get it out. I was a little scared to cough because when I cough, it would hurt a little bit to cough. So once I figured out the best way to cough without causing so much pain, I was able to breathe. But not breathing for 10 seconds was scary because I didn't know what was going on at the time. I guess couldn't catch my breath at all to breathe. But being tired is one of the effects of having the surgery. Like I sleep off and on throughout the day. I was able to sleep better last night, which was Wednesday, the second day of the surgery, because um, the pain medicines were working better. So I was able to turn on my side and I was able to sleep. The first night, I could only sleep on my back, which is uncomfortable for me to sleep on my back. So I didn't really sleep much at all that night. Um, yeah, so I'm really happy about what I did. Um, like I said, the kidney that I donated, it went to somebody in Ohio. I don't know who the person is. Later, we have the option to write each other, and it's up to that person, through our social workers, it's up to that person to respond if we choose to do so. Um, so what I did was, with that person getting my kidney, they're no longer on dialysis, and they will be able to live a normal life. Seeing that I'm a living donor, my kidney lasts a lot longer than a deceased donor. Right now, there's 100,000 people who are on the list for a kidney, who needs a kidney, and the waiting list is 6 to 10 years for to be on the waiting list to receive a kidney. And most of the time, people receive kidneys from a deceased donor, which is not as healthy as a living donor, because with a living donor, you have to have so many tests done and everything else. But with a deceased donor, they don't have too much history on that kidney. So a deceased donor's kidney is not as healthy and doesn't have a longer lifespan than a living donor's kidney. My kidney in particular was pretty good and healthy because I managed to be healthy, to focus on health most of my life. And so, yeah, so that particular donor, the receiving recipient center, was very happy to get my kidney at the time. Well, my nurse is here, so I'm gonna get ready to get my vitals taken. So, okay, bye.